Coming up on Tech News Today, Microsoft and Skype merge. It was a beautiful ceremony. In fact, it inspired the owners of Hulu to say, I can't quit you. You're not for sale anymore. And Google is a service killer. We'll tell you who they murdered next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Friday, October 14th, 2011. Tech News Today is brought to you by Slingbox, which just turned your iPad into a television. Look, Slingbox has a new iPad app, so now you can watch your home TV on your iPad anywhere you take it. Check it out at Best Buy or slingbox.com/twit. And by Vast Conference, the ultimate in professionalism, clarity, and flexibility for your conference calls, all at a low, low price. For 2 Vast Conference calls free with no commitment, go to vastconference.com and use promo code TNT. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Iyaz Akhtar.
I'm Darren Kitchen.
And
Jason Howell.
We all, sorry, Jason, I didn't mean to step on you there. Plus, it's really hard to step on Jason because he's so tall.
Yeah, and all the way over here.
I know. It takes
Tom's wearing those spiky heels.
Long legs.
You and your cleats.
It's Friday. I look good when I go out afterwards.
You do. Believe me,
I was going to say I was happy to be gathered all here together, but
not anymore.
It is iPhone 4S Day. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I want to start off with Microsoft finally consummating their marriage with Skype.
That's one way to put it. The deal closed.
The deal, they closed the deal.
Mostly. In most places.
Yeah.
Except for the places where it's not closed.
Where it's legal.
But those places, it will be when it's done.
It is interesting. Microsoft said that it has completed its deal to acquire internet calling leader, as they said, Skype, for $8.5 billion. Skype becomes a new business unit within Microsoft. CEO Tony Bates becomes the president of the newly created Skype division. And, quote, the acquisition remains under review in a few countries and will be completed in those countries when such reviews are closed.
So they seem pretty confident in the big markets. They're already all set. That's pretty much it. So the U.S. said it was fine. The EU said it was okay, or the competition committee there. And Skype got some changes already. 5.5, 5.6, they dropped the Google toolbar from
Shock.
Skype. Can you believe that?
Shock and awe.
I don't think they replaced it with Bing.
They didn't replace it with
thing.
Bing, yeah.
The shock in us that they didn't replace it with the Yahoo toolbar powered by Bing or you know, anything like that yet. Yeah, exactly.
There you go, jinx.
So this will be the one good version that has no toolbars. None. No, we all said no thanks anyway.
On Windows anyway.
Yeah.
Did never have the toolbar on.
It was always an opt-out thing.
OS 10. We were trying to figure out, like, how do you close a deal in some countries but not all? My best guess is that there is a sort of a fictional version of Skype on paper still separate from Microsoft in those countries, but the rest of Skype, which exists in the rest of the countries, is now part of Microsoft.
Yeah, they're probably, like, when you mentioned that earlier, I was figuring, okay, maybe they incorporated under the laws of this country and that country and the other country, so that technically those haven't been put together. But in the U.S., Skype's been bought.
I mean, what does it really mean? Just download it from Skype.com, not Skype.co.de or whatever.
That's not going to change.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna be able to get it from all those places. So that's just a legal thing. Is anybody worried now that, you know, everybody's been making all these complaints about Skype and saying it's Microsoft's fault when Microsoft actually had nothing to do with Skype up until this day?
Well, eBay wasn't really doing anything great with it, so I'm just happy that it has, you know, a parent that's going to hopefully do something well with it.
It's a neglected child.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
Skype has had some issues lately, and it wasn't Microsoft's fault.
No, Skype was on its own.
Skype updates.
Skype sucked before Microsoft.
Right.
Skype will continue to suck.
You don't think it's going to get better?
I think it'll get better when they start integrating.
You think it's going to get better?
With Windows Phone? I'm serious. Like, I think that Skype will be deeply integrated into Outlook and Windows Phone, and that's the kind of thing that you're like, oh, do I make a phone call on using my minutes if you still have minutes, or do you just go via VoIP? And I'm thinking this is probably a really nice killer feature that people already have Skype, or they could be easily coaxed into it from going from Outlook. You have that contact information, click one button, you're all set. I kind of like the way this could go if they do it right.
We were talking about that on Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott said he thinks they're going to integrate Skype everywhere. They're going to put it on the Xbox. They're going to put it in Internet Explorer. You know, it's going to be all over the place.
Not to mention, you know, with Mango and the front-facing camera, this finally actually is kind of one of the, you know, the most compelling that I've seen since FaceTime that actually gives FaceTime a run for their money. I mean, I was really hoping with like Fring and all those other services that something would catch on Android, but haven't really noticed that. So hopefully this will kind of like, you know, spur more momentum in that direction.
It's interesting that Microsoft owns it, and it's considered to be an open source-ish free. But it's not open source.
No,
but
it's not.
Distributed. It's
cross-platform.
It uses there's no central server.
Right.
So it's an open platform in that way. A lot of people think of it that way. So is that going to change? Are they going to institute a central server? Are they going to stop allowing it to be free? Are they going to charge? I don't think so. But anybody else disagree?
Well, it's not like the original, it's not like Skype under eBay's reign ever did all that much for, at least the Linux side. Really, that client's been out of date for so long. I don't expect it to be getting any more love now that it's with Microsoft. But I can't imagine them making fundamental shifts to the protocols without at least having to go and update.
Especially making individuals charging individuals. I can't see Microsoft doing that. Just people stop using Skype.
Well, they already do that for like Skype
For premium
out,
features.
things like that.
I pay for Skype.
Yeah.
Just so I can have a phone number and so I can call regular phone numbers with it.
It makes the Windows 7 mobile platform all that more compelling if you're like, oh, I'll buy it unlocked and I'll never get self-service. I'll just use Skype, and there you go.
You can pay the service for the Skype out number. You can actually get a call from there.
Yeah, right.
And that would
be
be
way to go.
A damn good Wi-Fi.
Microsoft still gets your money. Microsoft becomes a telco. I mean, combine this with Link, which is their enterprise VoIP solution.
no more a telco than Google is with Google Voice.
Which is kind of getting very close to telco. But Microsoft can come in and say to a business, we'll give you Link for enterprise, and we'll give you Skype integrated on all your devices, and then you're covered.
I could totally imagine them like integrating it with the Active Directory, trying to roll it out into the marketplace, into the enterprise. They already have versions of Messenger for the enterprise that have like all sorts of management features and security encryption, all that fun stuff. I could imagine this becoming kind of like that part of it.
Well, they already have
Link.
They already have Link for that. So
this has that brand name.
And they've said we're not getting rid of Link.
I mean, people have said Skype on like ABC and NBC shows on prime time. So, you just say, oh, it's a Skype, and then, the decision's easier for the PHBs.
Ars Technica has received a number of reports from Xbox Live customers complaining about hacked accounts on Xbox Live, and the pattern is pretty weird. Apparently, in all instances, gamers notice unauthorized purchases being made using their credit card information or their existing Xbox Live points for FIFA Soccer 11 or 12, as well as a bunch of downloadable content.
So go ahead.
I don't know. I'm weirded out by this because we don't know how many people are hacking into these accounts. But, I mean, is it just like a small group of people who really want to play FIFA and are just taking people's credits wherever they can in order to... Or is it like some sort of like a mental game? It's very weird. It's so targeted. It's so weird.
Well, what's interesting is that it's been happening since as far back as July, as some have been posting on one of the blogs that somebody had that's happened to in the comments. There's, nearly 24 comments of people saying, oh, yeah, that happened to me, too, and explaining their situation. The common tie being FIFA. Turns out FIFA has in-game cash, essentially, which could potentially be transferred to another account. So it's kind of like getting your WoW, your World of Warcraft account hacked and then all your loot stolen.
Yeah.
Well, that's far too reasonable. I'm gonna go with crazy conspiracy theory. International thieves, because they're the only ones who care about FIFA. They're like, hey, it's soccer. We're going to play about...
You mean everyone in the world except the United States?
That's right. I'm saying this is not U.S.-based. I'm saying that the thieves are playing FIFA somewhere else.
I say wherever there's money to be...
Canadian hackers.
I got to say, whenever there's some sort of virtual currency, any money to be stolen, real or virtual, there's going to be that draw for thieves. And in this case, it just so happens to be through FIFA. But Microsoft has been pretty clear that they don't believe that the Xbox servers were compromised. They think that it was these accounts. It's not like something happened overnight. It's just been a string of attacks for this one particular type where your account gets hacked. Suddenly, you've purchased a ton of Microsoft points and then spent them all on FIFA downloads, which who knows where they ended up then.
Although when Ars Technica wrote their original article, they said, this is sort of weird. There seems to be some strange pattern with just a few people. They got a response from Microsoft saying, listen, we don't have any evidence to say that anything on our end has been compromised. But because of that, a bunch of other people have said to ours, no, actually that happened to me too. That's so crazy. I thought it was just sort of a fluke. So,
and Microsoft has apparently, according to the same article, locked down affected accounts for 25 days. So I think what Microsoft is saying is when we see this weirdness, we're locking it down, but we don't think the service has been compromised. It may be somebody uses the same username and password everywhere and they just got unlucky.
And I read all of the comments and then some of the stuff in the following Reddit threads, and basically the consensus seemed to be that people were getting, you know, obviously upset because they're, you know, the purchases, so they would either go through their banks to get them refunded, or Microsoft would refund them, give them like 5 months free of Xbox Live and things of that nature. And then, of course, Microsoft pointing everybody to xbox.com/security, where you can learn all about like checklists and things that you can do to create your, you know, make your account more secure, like strong passwords, or I love this. In addition, they suggest that you have proofs, and proofs being like your email address or a trusted PC. They really recommend you use a mobile phone number, a password reset avenue. Although right down here where it says secret question, if you forget your password, we'll ask you a secret question to verify your identity, and only you should know the secret question answer. And then they have a tip here that says, but we suggest that, for example, if your question is your mother's birthplace, you actually use something like, get this, Windows 98 SE as your secret answer.
That's still a easily guessable term. You should use something like capital H, lowercase I, 37B6,
yeah.
29.
I mean, all of us here, we do stuff like that for our secret questions, but I just love that, you know, for Microsoft, the answer to where your mother's birthplace was is Windows 98 SE. SE, not 98 original. We're forgetting about that guy.
What about Plus?
Yeah.
Can I use Windows 98 Plus?
I don't think that's mentioned too much around Redmond.
Maybe it was the seeing Skype and Microsoft looking so happy together, but Disney and Fox have decided not to part ways with Hulu. They're recommitting. They say since Hulu holds...
We're seeing a counselor.
you know what?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Hulu is awesome.
Yeah.
We don't want to sell this.
What am I doing?
Yeah, you know what? We're off the market.
Since Hulu holds a unique and compelling strategic value to each of its owners, we have terminated the sale process and look forward to working together to continue mapping out its path to even greater success. Our focus now rests solely on ensuring that our efforts as owners contribute in a meaningful way to the exciting future that lies ahead for Hulu.
I think that reading sort of between the lines here is
read between the lines.
We didn't get the money we wanted to get, so
totally it.
Now we have to go
Well, it sounds
back
like there
to
was
the
money
drawing
on the
board.
table, though. It just sounds like they didn't find a proper suitor, is the way that I'm reading.
Well, yeah,
They
we
didn't
were
get the
talking
amount
about
of
this
money.
yesterday, Sarah and I. It's like they wanted $2 billion apparently, and they got $1.9 billion from Dish, $4 billion from Google with conditions they didn't like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what
Google
it
wanted
comes
the
down
rights
to.
longer than 2 years.
So they got close.
And there's hesitations too. You can totally tell that, like, they're like, Dish, I don't know if we feel good with Dish having all that content of ours, you know.
Yeah, that could be part of it too.
But everybody in a, I mean, it's, I don't know. I mean, you know that they were just going to jack up the price in the next, you know, re-up of the licensing anyway.
Are they going to get, well, and that's why nobody wanted to give them $2 billion, because they wanted to guarantee that the licensing price would stay low. And now they'll just have to charge themselves if they remain owners. Now, you caught a weird rumor in the Business Insider.
Business
Iyaz.
Insider claimed that their sources told them that this statement about Hulu being awesome and they're going to take the sale off the table was specifically about the 2-year deal, the subscriptions, and Hulu. But they are still considering Google as with Google's offer. Google's offer was $4 billion, but we get rights for lots of years. Sarah, you were saying that. So it's a different deal that was being offered out there. But now, old deal is dead, but now we'll decide whether we want to go with Google. So it's as if it's a totally different thing. And I think it's not necessarily crazy, because considering Disney and News Corp and Providence Equity all have to agree to what's going on every single time Hulu needs to do anything, because Comcast doesn't manage Hulu anymore because of the whole NBC acquisition. The thing is, maybe they need to work like that because they're so disparate. They probably don't agree very easily. Say, hey, we're all buddies. Yeah, well, sure, we'll go with that deal. Probably it's a whole other business deal, and I don't know if it's that wacky.
Do you think Larry Page has flown down to L.A. to hold the boombox over his head?
Well,
and say,
their sources said that Larry Page did visit.
I
but
need
don't know
you,
if it's
Hulu.
Boombox.
And Providence Equity said, I can't quit you, Hulu.
Well,
think you're
if
missing
Larry
movies.
Page needs them that bad, then he could agree to maybe like a 3-year licensing term, but he doesn't want to do that either.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's take a break and give you a way to get whatever video you want, wherever you want over the internet without paying anything extra. Slingbox. Sure, you do have to buy the box and you got to buy some of the apps, but once you do that, you don't have to pay anything extra. It's no monthly fees. And everything you're already getting, whether it's over the air or cable or satellite or your DVD player, it doesn't matter. Whatever's in your home theater can stream back over the internet to you wherever you are, meaning your iPad just became a television, like a real television with all of the programming. Now you can watch your home TV on your iPad anywhere you take it. You can find Slingbox or see a demo at Best Buy or check it out at slingbox.com/twit. Slingbox on your home TV, now appearing on iPads everywhere. We thank Slingbox for their support. It's a good holiday gift. Check it out. slingbox.com/twit. It is iPhone 4S release day, and even though there were long lines and lots of people got iPhone 4Ss, I don't know. Was it just me? I did not feel the Christmas morning feeling coming out of the internet that has accompanied previous iPhone releases.
Well,
maybe it's just me.
A lot of my friends had pre-ordered a week ago.
Maybe, and that takes some of the wind
yesterday
out of
and
it,
today, but by this time, most of those folks have gotten their phones, or it's shipped and they're on the way. And a lot of others had gone to Apple stores. I don't know anybody who went to one of the carrier stores, but I'm sure people did this morning and said there were lines, but they didn't run out, at least by the time I got in the car today. I actually have my gift card to get my iPhone 4S. I didn't have time to do it before the show, but I'm sort of like, I don't know. It doesn't sound like anybody's sold out yet.
So is that just an Apple gift card, or is it specific to the iPhone?
It is an Apple gift card,
Okay.
but I will be using it.
I was like, I hadn't
for the
heard of it.
iPhone.
Yeah, that's
So you
that's
can buy a
cool.
bunch of Apple TVs if you're really bored. You're like,
That would be kind of funny, where you're like, here's an Apple gift card, but you're going to buy the gadget I want you to buy.
Give me 100 Apple socks. Now.
for my iPod.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they won't be running out anytime soon. DigiTimes is actually reporting that Apple has upped their order of new phones from their manufacturers from 10 million to 15 million.
That's with Pegatron.
So
Yep.
that's
Yeah, they actually
That's
went
a
to
lot of
Pegatron,
confidence.
which is the smaller. Foxconn does the majority, and Pegatron does a smaller amount. So Pegatron getting more business out of it.
hey,
Great,
that's good
yeah.
for them.
Sprint also cleared up its policy regarding international roaming. Folks, it couldn't be clearer. When you buy a Sprint iPhone, it will come unlocked for international roaming until a
Until, of
software
course.
update comes later and locks it back up, at which time, if you're a customer in good standing and they like you, you can go back to Sprint and ask them to unlock it again.
That's very clear.
I don't know why this is causing any confusion.
Don't we just love over-the-air updates? How wonderful is that?
I want to. Why aren't they sold to you locked? They're going to lock them down anyway.
It's gotta be some
Well, I think
technical error.
it sounds like they flip-flopped on it. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll just do it. Oh, wait, Verizon's doing them locked? Oh, we're
Yeah.
doing them locked. Oh, we already made them, or we already got them flashed.
Someone in
or whatever.
purchasing forgot to check the mark to Apple saying ship these locked. They're like, they're getting shipped unlocked? Crap. Well, we need to prepare a patch to lock them back up.
Is it so much to ask that they would just be unlocked unless someone is in bad standing and then they get their privileges
want to
revoked?
do is sell you their roaming plan.
Yeah,
they
which
don't
is more
want you to go
expensive.
use some SIM card overseas.
Now, is it Sprint or is it Verizon that needs you to be in good standing for 60 days before
That's
you can...
Verizon's
Verizon.
policy.
Okay,
Sprint's
so
is
it's
a
like
little
if you're
more
planning a
amorphous.
vacation, it better not be for
You
another
know, it's
2
actually,
months.
I'm going to be in France less than 60 days from now. And so
Well,
I'm like, oh, man.
Are you going Verizon or Sprint then?
Well, I'm already a Verizon customer, and I can still use their international roaming plan, but I would rather use a local SIM card and save some cash.
Maybe AT&T
mad as
should be
hell.
pushing this, or maybe Apple should be pushing the fact that they sell unlocked phones. You can get it from them. So why would
Apple
anybody...
is selling unlocked phones in November. You can't get them right now.
That's right. I guess you're stuck with the old iPhone 4S, and back to the whole Christmas feeling thing. I know last year when iPhone 4 came out, I had friends saying, I'm going to stay up till 3 o'clock so I can actually get it because I was on the East Coast. But I haven't heard anybody do that. Like everyone was like, oh yeah, I ordered it 10 o'clock in the morning. It was fine. Nobody...
And yet, they're saying they expect 2 to 3 million to be sold through Sunday. At least that's Bloomberg is reporting.
One of the estimates goes as high as 4.
Yeah, Yankee Group says that. Yeah, it's crazy. I guess Apple's just getting better at selling these, so
Well,
they
do you
don't
think a
have
lot
to
of
have a
people
big
are
line.
probably holding off? You know, don't you think a lot of these are also 3G and 3GS upgrades?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it still should cause a line, right? If you're going to sell 2 or 3 million.
See, that's the thing. Is that really the case, considering now the iPhone is available in so many different locations? I mean, it's Sprint, it's Verizon stores, it's Apple stores, it's AT&T stores.
Best Buy.
It used to be like one place, and then they slowly started going everywhere.
Right.
But now the load is distributed, so it's not that big a deal.
Like a redundant array of inexpensive iPhones. Oh, wait.
Yeah, array.
No, they're not inexpensive. Never
But
mind.
then you
A redundant array of expensive iPhones.
Yeah, okay.
And then you still got the Apple Store in Los Gatos, where Steve Wozniak was first in line yesterday.
gotta
He
wait.
said, I'll sleep here overnight.
Not selling his spot either.
But yeah, it's not like people didn't line up. You're right.
Yeah.
And Woz did his
That's the thing.
traditional
Some
lining
people
up.
just do that. It's like I've seen a lot of questions online of people saying, "Why do we do this again when there are just so many more civilized
Because we
ways
need
to
to
get the
prove
gadget you want?"
to the British that we are better at queuing.
We don't even know what queuing means.
We don't even
We
call it
do.
that.
We do it when iPhones come out.
just
and we're
don't
like,
say it.
It's a communal
We
experience.
We don't
I think.
queue.
They like
We
to-
know what it means.
can
We
queue.
just
You probably spelled
Tom's
gray
only
with
would have
an
says
E.
things like
our
queue.
cats can queue.
That's Mew.
Like cats that are queuing. Queue cat. Never mind.
It's time for patent wars.
Gonna blow up.
A court in The Hague dismissed Samsung's claims of patent infringement covering 3G tech by Apple, and also rejected Apple's counterclaims in the case. So Apple lost a little bit, but Apple really won this. On Friday, the Dutch court found that Samsung's 3G patents were part of essential standards which could be open to license under FRAND, and that the two companies should negotiate an agreement. FRAND is a method by which you are forced to sell your patent licenses at reasonable terms.
Very reasonable and non-discriminatory
That's
terms.
what it's-
The idea, so the two companies have to sit down, negotiate, because otherwise nobody's going to win.
A U.S. judge, we mentioned this at the end of yesterday's show, has ruled that the Galaxy Tab 10.1 likely infringes on patents held by Apple, but avoided imposing a preliminary injunction, so the case will continue. Judge Lucy Coe held up what we didn't know yesterday, she held up an iPad and a Samsung Galaxy Tab in the air and asked Samsung's lawyers to tell her which one was the iPad from 10 feet away.
And the attorney's response was not, can't
Not
do
at
that.
that
Not at this
distance.
distance, Your Honor, 10 feet away.
Can you tell me which one of these is the Galaxy
Not
Tab?
at this distance.
Well,
But they
then
did
But
eventually
they
lose.
weren't
And that
wearing
was
their
it. Case over.
contacts.
Well, the thing is, you're not going to be like, could you imagine the attorney is going, that one, and is wrong? Like, that person is so fired.
Is that some kind of legal test? 10 feet?
I think
you have
she's-
to be able to tell them the difference 10 feet away?
A little known fact. No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Come on,
not-
the 10-foot test. Who doesn't know the 10-foot
You don't usually
test?
see judge going through these kinds
No,
of
this-
theatrics.
This
That's
just
kind
seems
of
like
weird.
she's sick and tired of this fight. I mean, this is a real
This
person
sounds
there.
like a judge saying, "You're telling me these don't look alike? Which one's the iPad?" And they go, and she's like, "Exactly.
Now go settle out of court,
Yeah.
for God's sakes. Cross license.
Get your eyes checked."
Will you two make up? And that was the end of Patent Wars. No, so it looks like Apple's winning these cases. Apple's got the momentum here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we've seen Motorola change their designs on tablets. We've seen some variants in the styling of tablets. So maybe they're not crazy in saying, "Hey, look, you can actually come up with a tablet shape that's slightly different than ours."
Well, maybe they're still crazy. It's just that the judicial system agrees with them. I mean,
they're crazy, and the law
judges make
is on
mistakes.
their side.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all. I
That
don't know
could-
if everybody's crazy. It's
that
just
could be. Google is crazy about killing services that
Maniacal.
people don't use.
Google's on a murder spree.
It's the
They
new
do this.
Google
This is a new
deathmatch.
thing since Larry Page took over. Every once in a while, they just make a sweep and axe a bunch of things that maybe are favorites among a few, but don't seem to be getting used widespread.
What's dead now?
They got rid of code search.
Let's go. All right, we'll start with code search. Several years ago, university. Oh, wait, where's code search?
It's right at the top of the TechCrunch article.
Oh no, I don't see it in this. I was going
And
to
a
go in
full
order,
sweep.
and you threw me a loop.
Designed to help people search for open source code all over the web. It's going to be shut down with the API.
It's not in my
on January
list,
15th.
but
Really,
it is
it's
getting
the
killed.
top one. Huh.
Google Buzz and Buzz API will be shut down in a few weeks. You'll be able to view their existing content on your Google profile and download them using Google Takeout. But in a few weeks, you will not be able to buzz anymore.
Nobody
See you
is
later.
buzzing. So
What do you mean Google Buzz is dead? That's like Twitter from 3 hours ago. That's how I keep up.
yeah.
You know, you can send right to.
Buzz always bothered me once it got into my Gmail view. I know that you didn't have to click on anything in there, and you could take it out of your front email view, but I just didn't want it there at all.
Sad about code search. Not sad about Buzz.
Not at all.
I'm not sad about Buzz.
All right.
The
at all.
technology is still around, and it's making its way into cool things.
Well,
Google Plus
you
gives
don't
us
do it
what
better
Buzz
now with
didn't.
Google Plus.
Yes.
So it's not as if we've lost this great social service. We've gotten a better one.
And then Jaiku, which was also like Google Buzz,
Which we all had to kind of look. I had to look it up again.
will be shut down on January 15th, 2012.
I knew what Jaiku was back in the day when Leo was heavy into Jaiku.
He was trying to get
kinda
everybody to switch to Jaiku.
He
Yeah.
wanted everybody to leave Twitter and go to Jaiku. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing a little bit, but I had forgotten that Jaiku was like still alive.
Yep.
If you
I
go to
know
the-
it isn't now, but I didn't realize that Jaiku was alive in the last year.
If you go to Jaiku's site and you try to click around to find out what it was, like take the tour, everything didn't work earlier. Oh, now it's working. Great. But yeah, that was interesting. I clicked their links and nothing works. So
Now everything's working.
Now
like a
everything's
charm.
magically working.
So we
now.
all get really nostalgic.
You can take the
before it all
tour
goes away.
and try it out, and then join up. And
Jaiku was a great.
You could be the
service.
last account holder.
exactly, that's what the race is right now.
Yeah.
Be the last buzzer of Jaiku.
That was
or-
Jaiku had the unfortunate timing of being a very close competitor to Twitter, at least in people's eyes, in the beginning days of Twitter when one had to succeed. You know, they both weren't going to succeed. That's kind of the same thing that happened to Pounce and a few other services as well.
Social interaction on iGoogle, which is your Google page when you're logged in. There were some social widgets you could install. Those are going away because, again, they're trying to fold things into Google+. So removing iGoogle's social features on January 15th, 2012. iGoogle itself and non-social iGoogle widgets will stay as they are. And finally, getting rid of search. I mean the university research program for Google search, not the main search.
I was about to say they could save a lot of money if they just served the ads, but not had to do the search engine part.
The University Research Program for Google Search provided API access to search results for a small number of approved academic researchers. Apparently, it was too small to keep going. So January 15, 2012, that goes away as well.
They all graduated.
And not related to this note, though, Google Voice users get a new feature, which is the ability to receive picture text messages, MMS stuff. Video, pictures from Sprint customers. So you have to be a Sprint customer to send MMS to Google Voice.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could send it, but if you want the recipient to receive it on Google Voice, you have to be a Sprint customer, and that's just for right now. Google said they're working on bringing that to other carriers too. So eventually, that means maybe some of the technicians that were working and the engineers working on Jaiku and Buzz and Code Search, maybe they'll go over to Google Voice and give it more features.
I would like Google Voice to work on iOS well, because it doesn't right now.
I heard the update actually made it less crashy.
When was the last update? Because
With
yesterday.
iOS 5.
Oh, well,
So relatively soon.
like
recent.
yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, that was a long time ago in my head. Internet time.
We're like, okay, I'll give it another whirl, because it's been like dropping messages, and it just doesn't seem to be a great service.
Use iMessage.
Let's move on to the news views.
That was very
In
extravagant.
Singapore, Dr. Joel Yang of the Institute of Materials Research and Engineering found a way to apply sodium chloride, that's right, good old-fashioned salt, NaCl, to a disk platter that increases efficiency so the disk can be packed more densely. Modern hard drives max out at 3 terabytes. I don't know if you knew that, but with Yang's table salt technique, they think they can push this to 18 terabytes. Currently, they can only demonstrate 1.1 terabytes, and they're going to get close to 3. But they think that eventually they can get to 18 terabytes. This could be coming sooner than later. Yang's method uses equipment and tech that are currently used to make hard drives, so not a big infrastructure change to make this happen.
Wow. So there was a TV show based on a Twitter account. We all know which one that was, which was weird already. I mean, TV show out of a Twitter account, but now even something weirder. A comment from Reddit is being turned into a movie. Warner Brothers purchased the rights to Rome, Sweet Rome, which started its life as, yes, a comment thread. The story was penned by James Irwin, a 2-time Jeopardy champ, when he responded to the question, could I destroy the entire Roman Empire during the reign of Augustus if I traveled back in time with a modern U.S. Marine Infantry Battalion, or MEU? So it's going to be a great movie.
Yeah. It's actually a pretty long comment. It's not like it's just like a one-liner. So
at least it's not Rand NSFW.
Started a Reddit.
The U.S. Commerce Department will not let Chinese telecom equipment maker Huawei help build the U.S.'s first responder wireless network, citing national security concerns. Huawei's co-founder was an engineer in the Chinese People's Liberation Army, so that's always the issue. Huawei and Commerce Department are old friends. Huawei tried to buy 3Com in 2008, but that was stopped due to, guess what, national security grounds.
Now, every piece of equipment in every device we make and every router we put on our internet can be made in China.
Yep.
But don't let them implement one. That might cause an it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Security.
Yeah. Box.net is offering iOS users 50 gigs of cloud storage for life. And all a person has to do is go over to box.net/iPhone, which directs them to the free Box.net iOS app. Now, the promotion's running for 50 days, but the 50 gigs is free for life. The app supports AirPlay of photos, videos, and all sorts of music.
Awesome.
Yeah.
2 congressmen are asking the right questions for all the wrong reasons about Amazon's Silk browser. Representative Joe Barton said they're going to collect all this information on each person who does that without that person's knowledge. And Ed Markey wants to know if and when their personal information is being used and for what purpose. Problem is, Amazon actually has told people they would collect information, why they would collect that information, and how to turn off the tracking. Personally, I would like to know how SSL is going to be handled in Amazon Silk. That would be valuable. I also want to know how these people get into office.
Ooh. Political slam. Verizon users, listen up. I have some bad news. A change to Verizon's privacy policy says Verizon will now be able to monitor where you go in real life and on the web. The idea is to bring you targeted ads, which is awesome. If you'd prefer to gallivant around without Verizon looking over your shoulder, you can opt out, but you have to opt out. That's right. You're already opted in.
That's great. What privacy? According to J.P. Morgan, the recent interruption of BlackBerry services will cost RIM $100 million. That's the cost of the company over the 3-day outage, not some vague long-term prediction. Rod Hall of J.P. Morgan said that he believes that a 5% impact to service fee revenue is plausible, though likely worst case. But he did hedge, saying there's a large margin of error because RIM's fees to wireless carriers are private.
Sony Ericsson's delivering their earnings report today, and they had some good news and some news. The good news is that the company broke even, and that's quite an improvement over losing 50 million euros last quarter. The other news is that in the announcement is that Sony Ericsson will only be making smartphones in 2012, so no stupid phones this year.
Yep, out of the feature phone business as of next year. In a move that might help the adoption of electric cars, a bunch of automakers have agreed to an international standard on charging systems. Audi, BMW, Daimler, Ford, GM, Porsche, and VW have agreed to one system for the U.S. and Europe. They also agreed to use HomePlug Green PHY, a communication protocol that will let cars work with smart grid systems.
I hope it's not micro USB.
That'd be awesome. Actually, no, I hope it is. Can you imagine if it's like, I need to plug in my car, but I don't have a cable. Oh, here, I got a micro USB.
It'll take you like
no problem.
3 weeks to charge it.
That'd have to be USB 9.0.
Yeah.
But
I guess you could reverse charge off your cell phone then, suck your cell phone dead so you can get out the driveway.
One more mile.
All your cars
just
will
out
have
the driveway.
malware. Oh, man, I got to get to work. I got to clean this up. Shoot. Shouldn't have used that.
All right, let's turn on the randomizer.
Randomizer.
I put this up to a vote every day. We decide what we're going to throw in our randomizer, and this time it was unanimous from Darren and Iyaz, and then Sarah went along with them.
I said, okay, you guys really want this.
It matches your shirt.
Business Insider's headline, "This green ball loaded with cameras takes panoramic photos when you throw it in the air."
That's pretty much all you need to know.
Tell me more.
No, actually, there's nothing else to know.
It's freaking sweet. It's got cell phone cameras in it, and it knows when it reaches the apex of the throw.
Yeah.
And then it just snaps a whole ton of photos, and then using their special software, you can put together panoramas. How neat is that? It's totally
I love the
hacker.
demo. Here she goes. She's throwing it in the air, going up, and
then
snapping a
snap
picture.
photo.
So
Time will not slow
there's a
down for you,
single
though.
photo that gets snapped right before it starts to descend.
It's like bullet time in the Matrix, except in all directions.
See this?
Yeah.
This is your picture, though. It's not like you have to get a bunch of different people to take a bunch of different pictures.
I mean, just
for you.
imagine
I
tossing
know how
that
panoramic pictures work. I just was wondering when
Into
the picture
space.
got taken.
or over the White House.
Oh, nice.
I just like to say,
Now
What's
you
that
just got it
garbage
banned.
on the ground?
Oh, sorry. I'm not
this-
going to toss it over the White House.
The ball was designed for a thesis project by Jonas Feil, a German computer engineer. So credit where credit is due. Good job, Jonas.
Jonas,
Actually, I like
Kickstarter.
this
Seems like
too.
fun.
The weird thing is, though, is that won't all the pictures have that person with their hands in the air?
Yes.
Yeah. unless
you're really fast.
unless you get a trebuchet.
Yeah, throw it up and run. Get out of the shot.
You
Those
thought
are
of the
real
accessory
masterpieces.
Potato cannons.
There's a whole accessory market right there, like a little
Oh man, you're so
a
right.
foot catapult.
I want one of these.
See, that's the cool thing. It's like throw it up in the air and then do like the craziest thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is even better than the Google
I
van
want the
coming by.
Flickr
You see
group.
the green ball coming by and you're like,
Do crazy
strike
stuff.
and pose. Just stand there. Let's get to it.
Before we get to the calendar, I want to thank Vast Conference for helping to bring tech news today to you. If you do conference calls, maybe you're a freelancer, small business person, or somebody who just, does some contract work and needs to set up conference calls, and you're like, you kind of hate giving out your phone number and then having to dial everybody in. Do it like a professional. Sign up for Vast Conference at vastconference.com, and all you do is send out a phone number and a code, and everybody dials in, and it's like you've got one of those huge, expensive systems like they have in big corporations, but it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. In fact, Vast is giving our audience an exclusive 2 business calls free. That's up to 300 minutes to give you a chance to try out the service. Just use the promo code TNT at vastconference.com to sign up, try it out. You give out the phone number, people dial in, put in the code at the time you want. Then on the web, while you're on the call, just on a regular phone, you're able to mute people, see who's in the call, record the call. You get lots of web features. So go check it out, vastconference.com. Use that promo code TNT to get a couple free calls. The account is free, so it doesn't hurt anything. You don't have to get charged anything else because they only charge you when you use it. Get those free calls. Try it out, vastconference.com, TNT. We thank them for their support of Tech News Today. On to the calendar.
Ring! PlayStation Vita pre-orders have started in Japan today. I don't know why I just said Japan. It's Japan. I've been taking these French lessons, and now my pronunciation is all off. Samsung's Chat On is now available in the Android market. Yes, Chaton. You might think of it as the Android answer to BBM and iMessage, except that it's actually going to be cooler because it'll be cross-platform. iMessage only works with other iMessage users, and Chat On will eventually be able to send messages to people on iOS and BlackBerry devices as well. Amazon's selling all Verizon phones for just 1 penny. That's right, 1 cent.
What does Verizon think of that?
Until the 17th. They're cool with it because it actually doesn't include the iPhone or tablets.
Verizon still gets their money. It's all
so certain phones, just maybe not the phone that you want or any tablets. This also does include free 2-day shipping, though. So
yeah, the iPhone is not one of those.
Yes,
to be clear,
that's correct. No iPhone, but everything else a penny. 2 days free shipping. Get ready for Apple's Q4 earnings call. That's coming up on October 18th. So that'll be all the earnings before all this 4S business. Be interesting to see how their last quarter went. UK analog TV signals are going to end on October 24th, 2012. That's according to Digital UK.
Took their sweet time, didn't they?
Yeah, really.
No, you know what? This was a really complicated transition. I know one of the people involved in the transition in the UK, and it was not easy.
The Daleks didn't go easy. They were just like, whoa, analog? We love analog.
Because it's a different situation in the UK about what people expect and what the broadcasters are, and so it was really complicated.
Finally, Motorola Mobility stockholders are going to vote on that big old $12.5 billion Google merger on November 17th, 2011.
What do you think they'll vote? No?
They got like a 40% premium on their stock price.
Yeah, right.
That's a no.
Yeah, exactly.
No. How could they say yes to this?
Premium. $12.5 billion.
Let's move on to incoming.
Incoming message.
We got a voicemail from someone regarding one of the quotes that Siri was using when they were asked, what is the meaning of life? We were talking about all the funny things Siri says when you ask it. And one of the weird things about Siri is when you ask it, what is the meaning of life, it gives you different answers each time. One of them was a quote that you'll hear from our caller, and he explains why it sounded so familiar to me.
Hey, we want for Tom from D from Glasgow. This isn't for the air or anything, but try to be nice to people, avoid eating the fat, read a good book every now and then, get some walking in, try to live together in peace and harmony with people of all creeds and nations, is the final lines from Monty Python. Tom, I'm glad you recognised the quote. I'm kind of sad you didn't know where it was from. It's Palin in drag at the very end of good old-fashioned Python. We love them, really, don't we? All right, cheers, bye.
Was that English?
Scottish. Yeah.
I heard Siri can't actually understand Scottish yet. 2012.
Well, you know what's funny? MG told me a funny story that the first time he had a chance to try out Siri, he was in England, and it was set to UK English, but he didn't know that. So he was like, Siri, what is the, it was like really simple, like 2 + 2. Siri was just like, I have no idea what you're saying until he switched to American English. So accents count.
Just remember that you're standing on a planet that's evolving. That's all I have to say. Let's check some emails. Comes from Derek, who says, hey, TNT, was given some thought to the Apple in the living room story. Microsoft's pushing hard to turn the Xbox and Kinect to become the voice-controlled home entertainment system. What if Siri were to come to your living room alongside some multimedia device, music, movies, TV, games, apps, and photos. Apple can potentially take over the TV, stereo, game console, DVR box, smart TV, widgets, etc., while truly killing off the remote control.
That's brilliant. No buttons.
I don't.
Oh, buttons.
Well, okay. Somebody would really love that. I don't see it happening though, just because so far the Apple TV has just really been a pet project, and mainly because of the hardware. I mean, well, they could probably, add a. Actually, no, there isn't even a microphone in the current version, so it'd have to be the next version of it. I guess in which case they could implement a camera, because really what it all comes down to is the Xbox wins because you get to wave at it. That's what
but we're talking about some theoretical new Apple device. You could easily have a camera and a microphone. That's not hard. If that's your only objection, they leapfrog that.
Or even just your phone. I mean, your iPhone could be your remote, and then you could control everything via Siri, via AirPlay.
Okay, I think you just figured it out. There we go.
Yeah, actually, that'll work. Yeah. Never mind. I'm down.
If Apple's not doing that,
they better be working on it. That's pretty awesome.
Sarah's and mine.
Next email from Simon, who says, "Hey, TNT gang, I've been listening to TNT 349 about the possible Apple TV, and a thought occurred. Here in the UK, a lot of TVs have apps built in. Mine has YouTube and Love Film, to name a few.
Sure, that happens here too.
What if iTunes got access rights to Ultraviolet, as we've been talking about, them possibly doing yesterday, and Apple made a TV app? It would save the cost of the R&D for Apple and also bring iTunes streaming to the living room. What are your thoughts?"
Well, the story yesterday was speculating that Apple would strike some kind of deal with Ultraviolet.
Right.
So Simon here isn't really telling us much we didn't talk about yesterday. But I guess what he's trying to say is, what if Apple actually used Ultraviolet instead of FairPlay for their DRM?
I mean, the rumor of Apple putting out their own TV seems crazy. The idea that the listener was putting in was that they put an application in there and give them the rights to have everything already. So Apple would basically be packaging something the television was able to do anyway. So they wouldn't have to give out their information to Sony, or they wouldn't have to give it to Panasonic. They just have to use their own front end. Apple would have their front end over the stuff that's being decoded by the television manufacturers.
Apple is not going to join Ultraviolet. That's the weakness.
They're actually on the board for Blu-ray. They haven't
in this theory.
implemented
Although,
it.
is it possible that Apple would be interested in bundling an Apple app into some TVs for people who don't want to pay $100 for an Apple TV? Yeah, that sounds
After the
far-fetched.
Motorola Rocker, I don't see them ever working with anybody again.
No, Apple makes money off hardware. Don't forget that. They're a hardware company, unlike Microsoft. They make money off of selling devices. Microsoft's a software company. So Xbox is kind of unusual for Microsoft, whereas Apple, they want to sell you a device. They want to sell you a thing, and I don't think they're going to just get into the app business. That would be letting somebody else have too much control.
End of story.
There you go. That's
Okay,
it.
Tom.
That's it. Sorry.
All right.
Don't forget to go to our Reddit, technewstoday.reddit.com. Thanks to CompFixer87, Kalido66, a.k.a. The Milkman, D2 Phillips, SP Sheridan, and more. Go in, submit stories, vote them up or down. Don't get frustrated. A lot of people are starting to get frustrated. They're like, hey, I submit a story, it doesn't get voted up, but then the same story gets submitted by somebody else and it gets voted up. We have 2,800 people in there, so that's going to happen sometimes.
Well, that, and I read the feeds, too. So the other thing is I'm not just seeing it. I'm not just viewing it via the Reddit page. I'm seeing everything come in. So it's not necessarily as being gamed. So don't even worry about that, guys. You can actually take a look at everything that's being submitted. So
Yeah. I don't think it's being gamed. I don't think it matters whether Iyaz reads it or not. It still just all goes in there.
I mean, it influences.
It's not like a Heisenberg principle. If Iyaz doesn't read it, it still gets submitted.
Sure.
Check it out, technewstoday.reddit.com. And we thank everybody who does submit stuff, helps us pick our lineup. Don't forget to go to Hack5 and check out Darren's show as well.
Yeah, find out all about Metasploit 4 and cross-site scripting, mobile phone applications, and some other transatlantic ballooning for you hobbyists out there. It's good stuff from DerbyCon this week.
And don't forget to find us on the web at twit.tv/TNT. You can email us. Our email address is tnt@twit.tv. And, of course, you can call us. Leave us a voicemail message like Dean did today, 260-TNT-SHOW. We've been getting some good voicemails. Keep it up, folks. Leslie Horn from PC Mag joins us on Monday. We'll see you then.